Yo, what up? It's your boy Rob, and I'm coming back at you again with another video. Now, this video is really important because, in my opinion, this is the future that I see. You know what I mean? In order for black people to be able to combat the coming age of artificial intelligence and the continued benign neglect, as well as the 2053 zero median wealth gap, we have to remove ourselves from the political and economic system in this country. That doesn't mean burn down neighborhoods. That doesn't mean become violent radicals. It simply means value-added transactions, creating an economic bloc, backing each other, and creating a micro community inside of the macro community in order to concentrate power where we can be a mobile majority. There needs to be a concept of mobile majorities. That is a modification onto some of the things that Dr. Claude Anderson said. Is one of the things that Dr. Claude Anderson touched on when he talked about how there needs to be economic centers. You know, when you go to New York City, there's a Chinatown, there's Little Italy, different things like that. There's no economic stronghold for black people. We need to create that, remove ourselves from the political system, because as long as benign neglect and the gag orders are in place, no political party will ever represent our needs. We will always be mixed in as everyone. Will always be talked about in broad, ambiguous terms, and anytime any progress is made, those terms will be switched around and manipulated in order to further suppress and dilute any progress that we've ever made. You've seen it happen throughout history. It's not pseudoscience. Anybody who says that it's pseudoscience is a complete liar. Okay, so in order to do that, people need to start moving away from the American dollar. People need to start using things like Bitcoin, like I've said before, cryptocurrencies, you know, in a reasonable capacity. You know, some things that you may need for vital necessities, you will definitely have to integrate yourself into the economy at large and also use, you know, the American dollar, but it should be minimized. It should be absolutely minimized. Things like social media, people need to concentrate their efforts on social media. You know, people need to put the differences aside and support each other as much as possible. Anytime there's an income stream, it always needs to be supplemented by support, encouragement, and marketing. Always, at all times. Even if you don't get along with the person, you have to put aside the difference. You know what I mean? You have to come together, and you have to use group teamwork and goal seeking in order to change the paradigm. Because the problem is that with benign neglect and the gag order, the political parties are not going to do anything for your wealth gap, because they're not allowed to deal with black political issues. This has been proven. There's the letter from Moynihan, and then there's the gag order. You know what I'm saying? So that is the reason why you see political parties systematically, and it's the right and the left, systematically replacing the black identity with Black Lives Matter. Because as long as they're politically speaking to an organization and not specifically to black people, then it's okay. Look at all of these political movements and look at all of these different political parties. They all say Black Lives Matter. People need to start speaking out against that. People need to there needs to be a clear detachment of black people from Black Lives Matter. I'm telling you, Black Lives Matter has a nefarious plan. One part of the plan is to completely erase the black identity so that we can never be written into any kind of legislation. And it's also used as a punching bag for the right as well as for the left in order to be able to use dog whistles to disparage us and talk about us without saying anything specifically racist. Okay, it's a fail-safe. So Black Lives Matter needs to be completely eradicated, and the only people that can eradicate Black Lives Matter are us. You know what I mean? Or they need to just go ahead and change it, because from what I understand, they about to change it to a whole bunch of different kind of motherfuckers matter. Black Latino, LGBTQ, all of these people matter. So, go ahead and do that and just completely remove us. And we also need to detach from the Democratic Party. Black and Democrat need to be detached. What Donald Trump was doing for America, trying to do the America First thing, we need to follow Donald Trump's policies, but within the black community. There needs to be micro Trump shit going on in the black community. You know what I mean? Black business first. You know what I'm saying? Isolation. Get out of these movements. Get out of the NAACP. Get out of Black Lives Matter. Get away from the Democratic Party. All of that shit we need to remove ourselves from. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot keep putting your energy into that stuff if it's not getting anything back for you. The only thing Black Lives Matter is doing is giving black people a more public negative image. We're also giving these racist agencies like Fox News more talking points. It's just got to stop. It's got to stop. The organization is not for us. The only way to deal with them properly is to completely disavow them. But the problem is that they have so much money and they have so many celebrities and they have so many people on the payroll. It has to be small people like social media outlet people. We have to detach. We have to get away from them. We have to tell them, you know what I mean, that Black Lives Matter is not for us. They're a detriment. You know what I mean? They are a setup. They're a Trojan horse. And I'm telling you, they're bad news. They haven't done one thing for one black issue. What have they done? Somebody first tell me what they've done as far as to black issues. They're a detriment. You know what I'm saying? They're getting the wrong kind of eyes on people. As far as I'm concerned, they COINTELPRO. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. That's what I wanted to talk about. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about is I saw a news article. A friend of mine actually shared it on her Facebook page, where these black and Latino leaders, supposed leaders, are calling for black people and Latinos to get the coronavirus vaccine first in Chicago. Are y'all crazy? Are you insane? Do you have a learning problem? Do you not recall the Tuskegee study? See, that's the problem when you get other people involved into your movements. Like it says black and brown. Brown people don't know shit about the Tuskegee studies. This is why black people issues are exclusive to black people. There was no Latinos involved in the Tuskegee study other than people that probably worked for the government. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't any Latinos. So they're going to downplay that as far as a concern of the United States government having a history of doing malicious studies on black people. So I think that that's a bad move. It's already very concerning, the Operation Warp Speed put these vaccines through very quickly. And, there's been very limited amounts of time for thorough clinical and quality control testing. You know what I mean? I really don't think that black and Latinos living in inner city Chicago should be calling to get the vaccination first. I think people should be calling for other things, and I don't know, might be kind of smart to just sit this one out and kind of see how it goes. You know what I'm saying? We got Pfizer, who said that when the vaccine first came out, it was 90% effective. Moderna, I believe the other company's name is, said that theirs was 95% effective. Then hours later, magically, Pfizer's is 95% effective. That's suspect to me. And another thing that's suspect to me is I saw a news video this morning from CBS News, and they also said that there was a study done by the CDC and that they had found antibodies of people that had COVID-19 from blood samples at the American Heart Association last year in 2019. So what's up with that? They threw that in there real quick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to see if I can find those studies by the CDC, and I'll do a video on them. And we'll talk about that, because that means that there's some people out there who, with the current COVID-19 pandemic, could possibly have antibodies that aren't registered in the COVID-19 tracking system, as far as, coming up positive and negative for COVID testing ever since this thing became mainstream as far as dealing with a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? But bringing it back home, yeah, black and Latino people, stop that. Stop that. For one, black and Latino people should have their own articles. There's no reason to have Latino people in an article about not trusting the government as far as healthcare, because I'm pretty sure that the government hasn't done any experiments or any malicious studies on Latinos. Don't quote me, I could possibly be wrong, but I know for a fact that has indeed happened to black people. And as much as white people might get angry and upset and call it pseudoscience, it's not. Bill Clinton issued an apology for it, where he couldn't specifically issue an apology. You're not allowed to apologize to black people, so in that apology he had to drag Stokely Carmichael in American fashion. You know what I'm saying? But that's what happened. Sorry, not sorry. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we need to remove ourselves. We need to practice political segregation. I think that's one of the things that the Tangibles 2020 initiative was trying to get, but I don't think they phrased it in that aggressive of terminology. I think it needs to be aggressively termed, and I think we need to create an economic vacuum in order to suck a lot of money out of the economy very quickly at a very bad time in the economy. So once it hits the minimum dip in the economy, that's when we need to practice benign neglect to the economy, since they want to practice benign neglect to us and our political issues and our needs that we have in this country. You see, the way that you deal with problems is that you reverse engineer them and find out how they were created and then break them down the exact same way. So we need to practice benign neglect and political segregation. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I say political segregation, that doesn't mean, be racist or not segregate. It doesn't mean for you to boycott if you have, white friends, or even stop going to Walmart or whatever. You need to find a minimum balance and only participate in politics in a minimum way. You need to practice benign neglect in reverse. People like to complain about reverse racism. Wait till they get reverse benign neglect popping off, and the economy, starts to behave in erratic ways. That'd be a beautiful thing to see. Then maybe people will start answering some questions, and maybe we could start getting some things accomplished. But see, these people created English, and they like to act like they don't understand English. So when that happens, you got to deal with things in a different kind of way. And again, like I said, I don't never advocate for violence. I don't think that violence is the way, unless somebody is being violent towards you. Then obviously you got to defend yourself. And if it comes with lethal force, then you got to use lethal force. You know what I mean? But you got to be able to combat some of these things, and we ain't on a fair playing ground. You know what I'm saying? So you got to move strategically. You know what I'm saying? So the political parties are assigned to lock you in to benign neglect, and that's one of the reasons why you have these huge extremes. This is why you have the extreme with the Conservative Party, where they just practice blatant, outright racism towards people, the things that they say, the policies that they create. And then that's why you have the liberals. The Conservative Party pushes you into the Liberal Party. See, they work together in that aspect, and there's a shorthand between the two. Don't let them fool you. There's a shorthand communication between liberals and conservatives. Liberals know that their place is to herd the minorities together and pick and choose which ones they service and pit the other ones against each other, knowing that it's difficult for them to be able to maneuver in the other party, which ironically the other party's ideologies would be the more beneficial, which is why they push everyone to the liberal side, because the liberal side is not beneficial for anyone. The policies in the environment that we have, conservative policies make more sense and they're better, which is why conservatives make that much more of an effort to keep you out of their party. You see? So you're being kept out of the beneficial party and being pushed into the one that continuously suppresses you. And then that conservative party turns around and criticizes you for being a liberal. You see? That's actually how that works. You know what I'm saying? So it's a bipartisan effort to control who goes where. Okay. And that is actually the reason why BLM exists. BLM exists because of the exclusionary policies towards black people, and neither Republicans or Democrats are allowed to politically advocate for black people. So they've created a corporate straw man of black people, like how they did with us with birth certificates. You know what I'm saying? Like how they do with corporations. They created the corporate identity of black people, which is BLM. So now all communication will be moved towards BLM. I'm telling you, man. This is why we have to practice political and economic segregation. We have to withdraw from the economy. We have to withdraw from the political system. We have to operate as a block. There's no choice, or else in the coming age of AI and in the coming age of the zero wealth gap in 2053, we will be at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder, and we will be the first for extermination when they begin population control. You know what I'm saying? They begin in population control right now, which is why they have those Trojan horses, the fake leaders in Chicago, calling for all the brown people and all the black people to line up and get those vaccinations first, because this is systematic extermination that they're trying to start. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to, when they talk about population control, they're talking about controlling the population of black and brown people. The other races aren't involved in the population control. You know what I'm saying? They're what's considered desirables. You know what I'm saying? We're considered undesirables, and you can find these facts in the bell curve, which again, as I've proven, is something that Joe Biden uses to assess how he deals with races, which is why he says that black people aren't capable of diverse thought. You know what I'm saying? Black people need to stop doing bell curve shit, like twerking in a black restaurant and then trying to cancel a black restaurant. You wouldn't do that at a white restaurant, but you literally try to cancel this black dude's restaurant. Like, come on, man. Stop doing that. That's what I call bell curve shit. Stop doing bell curve shit. Stop doing counterproductive ass shit. You know what I'm saying? 2053 is coming. AI is coming. 2024, the next election cycle is coming. We need to create a political vacuum. Don't let anybody else in. Don't let no movement in. Don't let Black Lives Matter in. Don't let none of that shit in. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers need to move as a block. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Reverse engineer that gag order, reverse engineer that benign neglect. Bet you they start listening. If not, they just start exterminating us right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm going to go in the house. I'm actually going to start working on a couple, the other type of videos that I do. And hopefully, I'll see y'all in there. Peace.